making this video because something happened yesterday. I mentioned that every time I've gone into a hospital, I've been harassed. Something has happened. There's people who try to cause and start shit. And yesterday, under certain circumstances, I felt safe going to a medical hospital. And I was able to speak to a doctor in the emergency room, and they took some lab work, and I was finally going to get some answers to what's going on with me with this passing out stuff. And so I'm waiting for the results to come back, and it's been over 2 hours, coming up on 3 hours, and I decided to check my email, and I find out that an individual, and you know who you are, you're a very important part of this channel, has had an absolute shit fit and messaged my Bandcamp through the form over and over and over again with a bunch of vile shit and making demands but they're in the format of basically terroristic threats. And there's a couple things the individual doesn't know. Number one, I can see the IP address all the messages came from, and the majority of them come from the same VPN address at the same company, which means that while I can't prove it based on that, this is the same person. They're using Mailinator to make a bunch of email addresses with vile names and post, send these messages that are one-liners that, are stupid. And it's made to look like it's some kind of internet raid. But it's clearly a pathetic astroturfing attempt to do so. They also have a few of the messages where they forgot to mask the static IP of the data center that they're using to do this. So they're using a static IP in a data center and then masking it with a VPN. The other problem is that there's a requirement on some Bandcamp pages that to communicate with the artist, you have to have made a purchase. That has never been a requirement on my Bandcamp page. I always interact with my fans whenever I can. But there was a purchase about a week prior to it, maybe less, of a song, and there have been no purchases in a year or more. And so I know that this email address, this purchase that was made, is the stalker. So that ties back to a PayPal account that's tied to a voice over IP number in Mexico. And here's the thing. All of this doesn't matter because I know who you are. And I'm going to be very clear about this term stalking. One of the things it alleges is that I'm stalking her on my YouTube channel. So you guys can't see it, but she and my brother do this messaging thing, this commenting thing all day long on all these videos, pretending to be random people with disinterested opinions that are saying I'm a horrible person and all this stuff. And the idea that you come to my YouTube channel and think I'm stalking you, I don't think you understand what stalking is. Stalking is calling into my employer and getting me fired because you're throwing a tantrum. Stalking is, the minute after, less than a couple days after you fake your kidnapping and realize it's going to be a problem. You call all our mutual friends to, tell them never to talk to me again. You call my church. I lose contact with my church. And only after I reach out to your dad, concerned that I can't reach my church, does he call the church and threaten them to tell them to contact me. And they're fed up. They're caught in the middle. They're like, we don't want, like, they did contact me once, but they're like, no, we don't want to deal with this. Stalking is sending 100 messages to my Bandcamp, making demands in an anonymized way with using terroristic language. So that's what stalking is. Stalking creates a situation where I'm afraid to go into a hospital and get medical care. And then when I finally do, before I can get the test results, I tell them I've got to go take the IV out of my arm because I don't know what's going on. That was the other thing. It said, go to a hospital. I tried. You harass me every time I get in a hospital. And this time was no different. So I want to be clear on what stalking is. So that, Gabby, when you throw a tantrum and engage in stalker-like behavior, accusing other people of stalking, you'll understand what an idiot you look like. The other thing you wanted was these videos to come down. So help me God, they are up for eternity now. I was discussing with my friend there. I was going to take them down after the civil case got underway, because I also don't want to be, I don't want my online identity defined by the fact that I dated a psychopath. I really don't. There are other things about me. Remember, I used to be a musician. I'm an IT guy. There's a lot of interesting things about my life beyond the fact that I unfortunately dated a psychopath. And so I want to tell you there's been a lot of things that are crazy coincidences in this. Happenstance things where I lucked out, where you try to do something really fucked and I just happened to dodge the bullet. And the greatest coincidence of all is about the phrase, the melancholy truth. I don't know if there's no way you could have known this. You said this cryptic thing, you'll never know the melancholy truth. And you referenced a Charles Dickens quote. Would you like to know the quote about the melancholy truth? It is the melancholy truth that even good men are cursed with bad relations. Gabby, you are a psychopath, and I'm done. Because I don't fault you for being a psychopath, because you can't help it, but you may not terrorize people. You may not do it. I'm going to try to go back to the hospital at some point. I'm not letting you know when. I hope that I don't die before then, because here's the problem. It's not diabetes. It's something worse. And I need treatment for it. Because when you eat a lot of sugar or whatever, something is sapping glucose from my system. And there's only a very small number of things that can be. Okay? The doctor said yesterday that he believes it's a tumor that's producing insulin, possibly. You've stressed me out to the point where I possibly have cancer. Now, that's not a sure thing. There's hopefully some other rational explanation for why blood sugar is getting sucked out of my blood, basically. And I'm praying that it's something that can be fixed, because I don't deserve to die, despite your feelings on this, Gabby. You know what? Each of us have lives, and just because you're done with me and you regret me being around doesn't mean you get to erase me. Doesn't mean you get to shut me up. You say I'm the reason for the Me Too movement. The reason you're raging is this is a Me Too moment. I'm talking on this channel about abuse and horrible things that you've done and others have done to me, and it's making you rage because you have to confront your actions for once in your life. So that's it.